Hi YouTube, and welcome back to my Random Thoughts on Thursdays. This week I'm going to talk about marriage equality. Okay, so marriage equality has been a pretty hot topic in the news for a while now, and I just felt like I wanted to kind of share my opinion on the whole topic. My husband and I are coming up on our second anniversary. Legally in June, technically in July, because we ended up like doing a courthouse thing in June, and then had our formal reception with friends and family in July. We never actually had a ceremony. We just we skipped ahead to the fun part with ours. Anyhow, so marriage historically, it's a little bit convoluted, obviously. I mean, some people get married for religious reasons. There are people who strongly believe that you shouldn't have sex or have children until you're married, and you know that sex is a bad thing if you're not married. And that's a religious belief, and you know what, if that's what you honestly believe and you practice that, yeah, that's okay. You know, that is your personal choice. I personally, because I'm an atheist, you know, obviously that I didn't apply that to my life, and you know, my husband and I lived together for about 6 years before we got married. So, no, we were together for 6 years. We lived together for about 3 years before we got married, I think, something like that. Anywho, so, but obviously we didn't refrain until we were married. Let's put it that way. But you know, it's a choice. It is a choice that people can make. And you know, there's obviously a lot of people out there that have their religious faith and everything. But that's just one reason for getting married. Many people get married, for love is the reason. It's the kind of like the modern day reason for marriage these days, is to get married for love. Okay, so I will posit this. Although a lot of people do get married for love, you do not need to be in love to get married. There's no way of testing if two people who are getting married are in love with each other. And you do not have to get married to be in love. Lots of people are in love. Many people move in together and live together and are not married, but are deeply in love with each other. Many people don't get married ever, and they're deeply in love with each other. And in many countries there's legal marriage, where you go to a courthouse and you get your marriage license and marriage certificate and all that kind of stuff. And then if you're religious, you then go to your church or synagogue or temple or whatever, and then have your religious ceremony for marriage. And if you're religious, you kind of need to do both pieces to be considered married in the eyes of your community. But many people who are like atheists, well, we just go down to the courthouse, like my husband and I did, and you know, in some states you have to have a justice of the peace or a judge or somebody officiate your wedding or your marriage or whatever you want to call it. In Colorado, cool thing is a couple can self-officiate their marriage. So basically, we went up to the counter, got the paperwork, went off to another corner of the building, and we both signed the paperwork. And then we went back and handed it in, and we were married. So we did not need someone to officiate the wedding, the marriage, and we also didn't need witnesses. We witnessed for each other. So it was really super easy and straightforward. But you know, it was you know, that's the legal part of the marriage. And since we're atheist, well, I'm an atheist, my husband's kind of agnostic-y. But anyway, we didn't have a ceremony. We could have had a civil ceremony with a friend of ours marrying us if we wanted to, but we decided to kind of skip that whole part of it. Neither one of us was comfortable with doing that, and so we said, screw that, let's just go ahead and just have a wedding reception instead. So just the wedding reception, where we had food and friends and dancing and just had a fun evening. And it kind of gave closure to the whole thing. Plus, it kind of made the whole thing feel more real for our friends and family, that we're married, rather than just us saying, hey, guess what, we're married. But my point is that there's a legal component to marriage in most countries, I think in all countries. And there are certain rights and privileges that come with that union that you make between two people. And I think, if I remember correctly, the Netherlands actually allows more than two people to get married legally. I don't know if that's still the case, but there was a time, about 10, 15 years ago, I think I read, where it was like the first marriage was a guy and two girls, and the three of them married each other, which was interesting. So I thought that was kind of cool, actually. But, you know, there's, like I said, there's rights and privileges that spouses have that people who just live together don't have. And that's the whole thing about marriage equality, is that people of opposite sex who currently live together in a relationship, you know, are in love with each other, but they don't have the same rights as a couple who decides to get married do. And so, you know, things like medical decisions. Let's say one of them is in an accident. You know, being able to visit their partner, to be able to make decisions for their partner. What happens, you know, with wills and with inheritance and just all of those things that, you know, children, if there's children involved. And it's the same whether you're opposite sex or same sex. If you're not married, you don't get the same privileges as a married couple. So people of opposite sex, like my husband and I, one of the reasons we got married was to be able to take advantage of those privileges. There were times when we would go places, and because I was not married to my husband, I was denied certain things because of that. And it got to be a little bit frustrating, and then, you know, the medical insurance was cheaper if we got married, and there were a number of things where ultimately it ended up being a better deal to be married than not. Some people opt to just stay living together and they deal with those things as best as they can. But if you're opposite sex and you live together and you're not married, you just don't get those privileges. And so opposite sex people, heterosexual people, have the option of getting married and getting those privileges. And so people who are gay, who are in a homosexual relationship, and they're in a long-term relationship, and they want to take advantage of those same privileges. That's the whole thing. That is that is the argument about marriage equality, is letting people who are in a long-term loving relationship be able to access the same legal benefits as people who are heterosexual. And I don't see why people have such a huge issue with it. Okay, fine. Perhaps in your religion, these people being in a relationship together is offensive, is sinful, is whatever you want to call it. But that's within the tenets of your religion and not within the tenets of the law. And in the United States especially, we are supposed to have separation of church and state. And there's lots of people who argue that no, that isn't true, it's been misinterpreted, whatever. You know what? Bullshit. Seriously, bullshit. Separation of church and state. The whole reason that amendment is in the Constitution in the first place is because the people who came to the United States, who formed the colonies, were trying to escape religious persecution because there was a state funded or state approved religion, and if you weren't part of the state approved religion, you were an outcast and you were persecuted in those countries. And so that's why people came here, and they were like, we don't want that to happen. You know, we're happy with our religion, you're happy with your religion, let's not try to impose each other's religion on each other. Because there's great gulfs just within Christianity alone in terms of Bible interpretation and how you celebrate things and just all sorts of stuff. Just within Christianity alone, there's a lot of disagreement. Not to mention disagreement in terms of how to do things between Christianity and Judaism and Islam and Buddhism and Hinduism and just all these different religions. You know, and then of course there's those of us who aren't religious at all. And none of us want to have someone else's beliefs imposed on us. Now, there are people out there who do want to impose their beliefs on others, and I think that they're jerks and assholes, and sorry for swearing, but I'm just like, I'm sorry. You have the right to believe in what you believe. I do not believe you have the right to force others to believe what you believe. I don't care if you believe in the flying spaghetti monster. You know, you have the right to believe in it if you want to, but you don't have the right to push it on other people. Period. Same thing goes for atheists. Seriously. As an atheist, I do not like other atheists trying to force atheism on people of religious faith. You know what? Leave them alone. But just getting back to marriage equality again, you know, marriage is, bottom line, in every country, it's a legal thing, with a religious thing layered on top of it for people who choose to believe in that. If you don't want people in your religious faith who are homosexual to get married, you know, that you have the right within your religion. So let's say you're Lutheran, and the leaders of the Lutheran hierarchy, whatever you want to call it, decide that gay marriage should not be allowed within the Lutheran Church, and that they would not marry gay people. You know what, that is within the tenets of their religion, that is okay. So no gay people can go to a Lutheran church to get married. This is just an example. I'm not saying that Lutherans have said this. This is just a complete example. But these same people cannot tell the government or try to force the government to tell these people that they can't get married. Okay? I don't think the government should be able to bar any two humans from getting married. And I would posit, I would actually extend that to, I think it should be legal for any number of humans who want to be married. If you have 5 people who all want to be married together in a polyamorous thing, who's it hurting, to be perfectly honest with you? They all love each other. They all are in a cooperative, happy relationship with each other. If they want to get married, let them get married. You know, as long as no one's underage, as long as no one's being coerced, as long as it's completely consensual, as long as it benefits them as a group, then, you know, what's the problem? So, you know, not only do I support gay marriage, I support polyamorous marriage. I don't say polygamous, because that has a whole other connotation, and there's a whole stigma with that. And I do have friends who are polyamorous, and I completely support their lifestyle choice because it's their choice, and I see how happy they are in that lifestyle. They don't have the right to marry all of their partners because it's currently illegal to marry more than one person at the same time, and I don't know why, but whatever. But yeah, I completely support marriage equality among humans. I know a lot of people think that once we have marriage equality for gay people, and let's say it spreads out to polyamorous people, then oh my gosh, now we're gonna, you know, let people get married to their horse. Well, okay, I draw the line there. I don't support bestiality marriages. That, you know, interspecies thing, I'm sorry, but the horse can't go out and earn money and have certain rights and privileges that the human spouse would, because it just wouldn't, because it's not at the same level of sentience that we are. And so, yeah, let's just keep it to humans, and then I think that's fine, as I think marriage equality among humans, and we'll just leave it at that. So anyway, what is your opinion on marriage equality? Do you support it? Are you against it? Why? Let me know in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching. If you like my vlogs and my opinions, or even if you hate them, you know, thumbs up if you like my opinions, thumbs down if you hate my opinions. You know what? I don't care. Either way. If you enjoy my videos, please share them. I appreciate anyone who shares them. And definitely, if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe. I try and do a new video every Thursday, although I do skip once in a while. I skipped last week, sorry. But I do try to put up a new video every Thursday most of the time. And anyway, so thank you so much. I do appreciate everyone who watches. And until next week, take care. Bye-bye.